I would hazard a guess it may be even one of the most beautiful pieces of continental porcelain we've had in the Antiques Roadshow.
The factory behind this plate is one of the oldest still working in Europe. It was founded in 1747 by the ruling House of Bavaria, and within a few years it had moved into a wing of the Nymphenburg Palace itself, just outside Munich, where it still hand paints from the original 18th century molds today. A plate from a court service was never made for sale. It was made for the elector's own table, in tiny numbers, and almost none of it ever left the palace, which is exactly why a single survivor turning up at a valuation table is such an event.
Do you know any idea what you reckon they made?
None idea, so.
Do you want to hazard a guess?
1,000?
Well, you're a little bit on the conservative side. You know, one made last year the equivalent of £8,000.
Geoffrey Chaucer wrote the Canterbury Tales in the 1380s, in the everyday English of his own London, a radical choice at a time when serious literature was still written in Latin or French. He died in 1400 and was buried in Westminster Abbey, in the corner that would later become Poets' Corner. Nearly 80 years on, William Caxton brought the first printing press to England and chose Chaucer as one of his very first books. The volume on the table now is a later landmark in that story, a complete 16th century edition of Chaucer's works, gathered and edited by the great Tudor antiquary John Stowe.
Now you have to tell me where your side of things come in. Where did it come from?
Well, it came from a friend of mine, and his aunt died about 6 months ago, and at the age of about 80, and John inherited this from her. That's unfortunately about all I know about it.
So you brought it in today for him?
He was going to come today, yes, but he couldn't make it, so he asked me if I would come down.
Well, it's absolutely wonderful. Now, if this was the first edition of the Canterbury Tales, we'd be talking somewhere in the region of £850,000. But don't get excited, please. I only did that to wind you up slightly.
Don't mind them getting round.
This is the fifth edition of the complete works of Chaucer, and in my view, books of this age and this quality are stunning value. And I estimate this not to be £850,000, but about 8,500. Yes, it's a wonderful book.
You've watched hundreds of these moments. The ordinary object, the jaw-dropping value. But here's the question we never ask: what's sitting in your home? You don't have to wait for the roadshow to come to your town. In seconds, Velco tells you what it is, when it was made, and what it could be worth. It's like having the roadshow in your pocket. Open the App Store and search Velco. VELQO. Or point your phone at the screen. You might be sitting on a fortune.
It's interesting because obviously there's an inscription on there in Latin, 1633. I don't know if you can translate the rest for me.
Well, it's a chalice given to the church.
Surviving English church silver from this date is genuinely scarce, and there's a brutal reason why. After 1559, Elizabeth I's reforms ordered parishes across the country to melt down their old Catholic mass chalices and have them remade as plainer Protestant communion cups. Then, 80 years later, the Civil War swallowed even more, as both sides melted church and household plate into coin to pay their armies. A cup hallmarked in London in 1609, in the reign of James I, has come through 400 years and 2 waves of destruction, and the wear on its marks is from for centuries of communion, not neglect.
Anyway, I would have thought for insurance you're probably looking at somewhere around about the £9,000 mark. So, you know, that's the sort of figure you'll be looking at for insurance, because that's going to cost you that to replace it.
Right.
So, where on earth do you keep it?
We were broken into just over a year ago, so I'm afraid most of our silver is now in the bank. It has to be kept under lock and key.
Anyway, thanks for taking the trouble to bring them along today.
In the market in Portobello, in London. Portobello Road. And,
how long ago?
20 years ago.
Yeah.
And
was it in a shop or on a barrow?
On a barrow.
It was on a barrow?
On a barrow. And I was looking through the pictures was in there, and then all odds and sods, and I saw another picture that I was interested, and I brought the two together.
Job lot.
I wasn't really interested in the picture just because you wanted so much for the other picture And that's, yeah,
Harold Harvey stands slightly apart from the rest of the Newlyn painters, for one simple reason: he was actually a Cornishman. He was born right here in Penzance in 1874, while most of the colony around him were incomers, drawn west by the famous Cornish light. After a grounding at the Penzance Art School, he went to Paris, to the Académie Julian, and carried that French training home to paint the fishermen, farmers, and fields of his own county. He has since become one of the most sought after of all the Newlyn artists, and Penley House, the gallery in Penzance, now holds his work and mounts whole exhibitions in his name.
I think if you were to sell this picture now, or put it in a sale now, you'd be looking at £8,000 to £10,000.
Oh, God.
So well done to find that one on a Portobello barrow.
I'm very surprised because I don't know if you know Portobello.
Yes, of course I do.
There's quite a lot of antique shops around there, and how they've passed through their nets.
Well, you see, in 1961 it was possible because interest in the Newlyn School hadn't really begun at that time, and pictures of this date, you see, 1914, in the 60s were valued very little, and so you really made an extraordinarily lucky buy.
My wife wanted it out in the living room because you have it in the living room. She wanted it out. Just, I want to decorate the room. I want all this rubbish out.
All complementing that sort of date. So, is it family table?
Yes.
Oh, lovely. It has the feel of it, you know.
It was. I remember as a small child sitting round the table at Christmas playing cards.
That glittering brass inlay has a pedigree. The technique is called bull work, after André Charles Bull, the cabinet maker to Louis XIV at Versailles, and it came roaring back into fashion in Regency London a century later, on exactly this kind of table. The designer named here, George Smith, was no provincial joiner either. He styled himself upholsterer and cabinet maker to the Prince Regent, the future George IV, and his pattern book set the taste for the whole era. A table this good, in untouched rosewood, would normally crown a collection, which is what makes the finishing figure on it so striking.
A table like this would cost you about £15,000 to replace?
Would it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, it does look nice when you see it down.
Absolutely.
Looking at it like this.
Before you go, a quick word that could save you from a costly mistake. Every week, treasures like the ones you just watched are sold at car boot and yard sales for pennies by people who simply didn't know what they had. Don't let that be you. With Velcro, just snap a photo of anything in your home, and in seconds you'll know what it really is and what it's really worth. And it's completely free. Point your phone's camera at the code on screen now, or search the App Store for Velcro, the V-E-L-Q-O-N-O before you let it go.